Welcome to Blatchford Day Ticket Fishery in Chelmsford. You've joined me here today to take you through a rig I use for 95% of my fishing, and it's a variant between a stiff-hinged rig and a multi-rig. The boom section I use roughly 10 inches or so as a starting point of soft coated braid. I find this a bit more forgiving laying over twigs or leaves or debris on the lake beds. I double up a loop section at the end just to help it kick away on the helicopter setup. The hook section, the most important section in my eyes, is a doubled up section of tripwire. There's a few reasons I do this. If you're giving it a big chuck out into the pond, it keeps its shape. It doesn't. A lot of them are prone, to lose their shape, straighten out. This will leave exactly how you made it, and it will stay like that. The second reason is it's double the rigidity of any stiff material out there, and it sort of braces each other and keeps its shape and just holds it in that prone position for longer. The third reason, if you're using a lot of hooks or you want to change hook size or hook bait, you can just loop it on and off like the conventional way on a multi-rig. There's a couple of key elements to it that I found through using it in my experience, and there was a couple of problems. Chucking it out, especially on big casts, the D section with the stiff material being quite smooth, it's quite susceptible to opening up the D, and that's really not what you want. So I had a tiny little bit of silicone tubing, a real fine diameter, sort of stuff you use pole fishing, stick float fishing, and I cut off the smallest bit I can get away with, and I just sit it inside the eye. This holds the D into whatever size you want to make it, big or small, and it also holds just enough resistance that when you're reeling the rig in at the end of the session and the hook might catch on a bit of weed, it won't pull that D shut. But if you do get a pick up from a carp and it gets a head shake and it spits your hook out, or you get done, it will actually overcome that resistance and the D will shut, so you know when you've been done. That's really a big part of the rig. It's caught me 2 fish today. We've still got time for some more, so I'll take you through how to tie it. For the boom section, I take around 14 inches of ultra skin. I then strip off the coating about 4 to 5 inches from the end. Next, for the hook bait section, I take some tripwire, about 4 to 5 inches of that. I double this over and I decide on the height that I want to fish the pop-up and I form a kink. This will come important later on when tying the all-bite knot. The doubled over section, I then go through with the unstripped coating. I take that through right up until the stiff filament is touching the beginning of the coating on the braid. I then start to tie the all-bite knot. I do 6 turns up, 3 turns back down, going back through the loop the way I come through to start with. I then get a rig tool and I pull that down, easing that knot down to the kink that we formed earlier to set the height of the pop-up. I give that a nice good pull down tight, make sure that's set and it's not going to slip. I cut the tag off both ends and blob with a lighter, trying to get as close as possible. I then, on the hook bait side, I then thread a small piece of silicone tube onto the doubled over hook bait section, followed by a size 20 swivel, which we mount the hook bait onto. Next is the hook. I generally use a big hook, a size 4. These are the chods in a dark covert, really sharp, really strong. To finish the rig off, I attach it to the swivel on a helicopter setup with a figure of 8 knot, around 2 inches long. This just gives it extra rigidity, helps it stop tangles and just kick away from the lead. Next, I place a bit of critical mass putty in the middle, just to keep everything pinned down and out of the way. A bit of putty around the all-bite knot that we made earlier, just to pin the pop-up down. I tend to overshot them, don't really want them wafting around too much for any feeding fish. And most importantly, mount a super buoyant pop-up to keep everything cocked and ready. So if you want to give a pop-up rig a go for big fish, small fish, winter, summer, all year round, I suggest you give it a try and give it a go.